And so welcome, Andrea. It's been a while since you've been on the show.
Yes, and I'm always looking forward to coming back and hanging out with you.
Yeah, you've been doing a lot of stuff. Tell me what's new with you.
Well, same old stuff that's always new because all the stuff is constantly changing. You look on the web, and this is healthy, and that's healthy, and then the same thing that was healthy is no longer healthy. So
It's very confusing, Andrea.
it's very confusing. That's one of the reasons why I like traditional stuff. It's been around for thousands of years, and that's where I go.
Well, speaking of that, I want to ask you, I just went to a muscle tester, a chiropractor who specializes in muscle testing. And after he tested me, he said to me that I had adrenal problems. Okay. And so this is his philosophy, and we might have him on the show if it works, that if you have adrenal problems, that you need to eat adrenal glands of animals. Never heard of that before.
Yeah, it's actually traditional food, right? So the glands help to nourish our glands. They're rich in iodine, they're rich in minerals. And yeah, I mean, like traditional people would eat all parts of the animal, not just the prime cuts, which, in the modern world, we're like, oh, filet mignon. And, but the traditional people, they would eat all cuts, all pieces. They use the whole animal. It's a whole different respect for the animal.
Interesting. Well, this is the first time that I've heard, bless you.
Thank you.
Hey, just in time for our conversation today about staying healthy and using house remedies. There we go. We get to watch Andrea Beaman blow her nose. Or at least I do. I don't know who's being copied right now or who's being seen. But that was the first time I had heard that. If you're having liver issues, that you eat the liver of the animal. And so I'm having some desiccated, bless you, desiccated adrenals.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Wow.
Yeah, it's going to give you the minerals that you need to support your adrenals, but you also have to be able to absorb it. It's not enough just to eat it. You have to be able to absorb it. And if your digestive system is not functioning well or your gallbladder is not working well, then you won't be able to absorb as much as you need.
Interesting. And so that could be a show in the future. Today, we are talking about how to use home remedies. The queen of home remedies, Andrea Beaman, is going to teach us how to stay healthy during the holidays when we tend to overindulge a bit. And as you know, the video here is the show between the show. I always think of, remember Jerry Seinfeld, how he had a show within the show. It was like the show about nothing, but this is the show about everything. And Brian, how much time do we have left before we get started? Oh, I think it's going to happen anytime.
30 seconds.
30 seconds to be exact. And so today we're going to learn and grow with Andrea Beaman. So fasten your seatbelt because it's going to go pretty fast, doesn't it, Andrea?
It does. It goes by in a snap.
Yes, yes. And we're going to get to learn today how to nurture your body with home remedies. And I think we're about to get started, right, Brian?
The Lillian
there it
McDermott
is. I can hear it now. Thank you, Brian. Time to dance, Andrea.
Bridges we burn, we make mistakes.
Not just Andrea, everybody. It's time to dance.
When life gets tough and it seems like your best ain't good enough. If you're in need of hope, you know where I'll be. I'll be right here. Right here, and when you need a friend, you can count on me. I'll be right here waiting for you.
This is the place you can always turn to when you need a friend. The Lillian McDermott Show. To reach out to Lillian, visit her on the web at whenyouneedafriend.com. Now let's all learn together. Here's Lillian McDermott.
Hello, my listening friend. It's so nice we can meet each other on the air on this beautiful best day ever. And for those of you who are new to the Lillian McDermott radio show, the purpose of the show is to provide a safe place where you can go to when you need a friend. It is my commitment to provide alternative ways to heal, and it is my mission to make awareness, responsibility, and truth into an art. A-R-T. Awareness, responsibility, and truth. Just wanted to say that. And I hope you, my listening friend, will feel empowered to embrace a new truth and live the life of your dreams. And if you have any questions today, feel free to call or text me at 407-373-5959. So today I've said already, fasten your seatbelt because we're going to learn and grow with Andrea Beaman. Are the holidays like frustrating you or stressing you out because there's so much to do with all the hustle and bustle? There's very little time left along the way. So now that we're adding the holiday cheers, the holiday food, the holiday beverage, the holiday late nights, really, now's the time that we need to embrace good health. I just came back from Jacksonville. I was up there last week, and every single person I hugged, kissed, shook hands with was sick. And I did some things myself that I'm going to share with Andrea because, I've learned from teachers like Andrea and others that have been on my show. And for those of you who have never heard of Andrea Beaman, she is a world-renowned health coach, chef, and she's been on the show once a month. She's a regular here. And today we're going to talk about how to create home remedies that in your kitchen that will nurture your body. And since it is our sole purpose in life to give and receive love and knowledge, I am grateful that Andrea Beaman is back to do just that. Welcome, Andrea.
Hello, Lillian. I'm looking forward to hanging with you today.
I know, it's really, and we were able to just hang a little bit beforehand because you need to go. You have a busy day, and I'm glad that you have time for us today. So here we go. Share a little bit about your background for people who are just getting to know you. Share a little bit about your background and what led you down this path.
Well, I'm a holistic health coach, an herbalist, and a health educator. And I got started on this path through sickness. Like most people who come to health, right? They come from a place of not feeling well, not feeling good in their body. And that was me. I was sick with thyroid disease, and I was told I needed to take medication for the rest of my life. And I said, you know what? I got to change my diet and my lifestyle. Mm-hmm. And that was 20-something years ago. So
but you knew that. You knew that you had to change your diet and your lifestyle at that age. Where did that come from?
Well, it came from watching my mom. My mom was sick with cancer. Breast cancer came back second time. And, the doctors initially, when she had cancer, they said, okay, we'll take the breast off. It was back in the 80s. Take the breast off, take the lymph nodes. They took practically the whole half of that body. And after 5 years with rounds of radiation and all that stuff, they said, okay, you're cancer free. But 11 years later, the cancer came back. And, it was interesting to me. I'm like, well, how did the cancer come back? They took the breast off. They took all this stuff. They took the lymph nodes out. How did they come back? So it had to be something else that was causing the cancer, not the breast or the tissue. And so my dad read an article about a Dr. Hugh Faulkner that had healed his pancreatic cancer using diet, specifically a macrobiotic diet. So we tried it with my mom. The second time when she had the cancer, and she had already been through radiation and chemotherapy and all that stuff again. And we saw some life come back into her, right? It wasn't enough to bring her back from where she was, but we saw that little bit of life. So that planted a seed in me. Okay, when I get sick, I got to change my diet and my lifestyle.
But isn't that funny? When I get sick.
Yeah. Well, because if you look around, like you said, you just came back from your friends and your family and everybody was sick. So, sickness is going to come. We're not going to get in and out of this lifetime unscathed. Yeah. Some type of sickness is going to be there. Like I know very few people that get all the way up into their 90s and they haven't had a sickness of some sort.
Sure. But the key word is when I get, because it's unavoidable, but how can we avoid it? What can we do to be as healthy as we possibly can be, as long as we can, and develop these immune systems that even if when people are sick, we know that we're strong enough to battle it.
Well, you did the right thing by hugging all of your friends. So we have this, we have an immune system, and the immune system learns every single time it comes in contact with a sickness, an illness, a virus, a bacteria, a pathogen, every time it comes in contact. So the people that are swathing themselves in antibacterial soup, the soap and all that craziness it's not going to work. It's going to make your immune system weaker.
Wow. And so that was one of the things I used to do. And let me tell you, I use so much antiseptic wash, whatever you call that, hand sanitizers, that I think I rubbed my fingerprints off of me. Thank God for essential oils, because that's what I use now. But we're going to continue our conversation with Andrea Beaman when we return worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. We'll be right here waiting for you, and we're going to learn how to stay healthy always. I couldn't hear the music, but I'm glad that you're watching the signals. So that is, I'm telling you, Andrea, I went to this expo, and I was greeted, because when they find out that you're the host of the Lillian McDermott radio show, or what you're part of everybody wants to be on, at that conversation, they shake your hand. And there was one situation where this person was like in the middle of blowing their nose, and they didn't use, then they took their napkin, put it down, and then they kind of like wiped their nose like this. And I went, hey, and he took that same hand and just that did this to do this. And
did you shake his hand?
Of course I did. I almost went like this. Let's do a bump. How do you deal with something like that? How do you deal with it when you know that they're like the bubonic plague?
Yeah, I mean, that this is a time of year when everyone's passing around viruses and everything to each other. So, it's good. You're going to come in contact with it. You can't live in a bubble. And the more you come in contact with, actually, the stronger your immune system gets. At least that's the memory of the immune system. It's supposed to get stronger each time. It'll build the white blood cells that you need, but you want to make sure that you're giving your body the tools that it needs to build all the stuff that it needs.
Absolutely. It's the gift that keeps on giving, Andrea.
That's right.
By the time I got home, I'll share the story about the time I got home this last time from Jacksonville. And I love Jacksonville. Let me tell you, I love Jacksonville. That's where the show airs from, on the Biz and also on WBOB. And I just absolutely love going up there. It's about 2 hours from where I live. And but when I go up there, it's like hit the ground running, meet sponsors, meet this, go to people, go to expos, kiss babies, that type of things. Have you ever, like when you're on stage, everybody's coming to say hello to you, and everybody wants to hug you, touch your hand. What do you do?
I do. I hug people. I touch them. I know that this is my human community.
Absolutely. Okay. So that is how we live in our human community.
You can count on me. I'll be right here waiting for you.
You can text Lillian McDermott or leave her a voicemail at 407-373-5959. Once again, here's Lillian.
Welcome back to the Lillian McDermott radio show, where we always learn from one another. And today's teacher is none other than world-renowned author, chef, health coach, Andrea Beaman. What is she not? She is everything. If you want to learn a little bit about Andrea, go to andreabeaman.com. And I'm so excited. Oh, and also she's got great books, Happy Healthy Thyroid. What are some of the other books that you've written? Because I've got two of them back there.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. Happy Healthy Thyroid, Health is Wealth, and The Whole Truth.
The Whole Truth. And last time we gave away The Whole Truth. We had 2 happy winners that are enjoying your book right now. So, Andrea, I had mentioned to you, I just got back from Jacksonville, and when I was coming back, I was drained. I had back-to-back nights where I went to bed really late, got up really early. One night, of course, you're entertaining, you're doing some things that you normally during the week do not do. By the time, and of course, hugging those people that I told you about that I knew they were very, very sick. And I came home and my body was drained. just tired. And I drove back and I said to my husband, Robert, I went, you know what? I just need a nap. And I'd never nap. He knew I was like serious, never nap. That was the first thing my body was telling me, take a nap.
Very smart.
But I had a really bad sore throat. And what I did about that was, I don't know what made me do it, but I took some garlic and the clove and I put it in my mouth and I just sucked on it. And I said, vampires, stay away for a while. So is that something that I was just listening to my body? What do we do in a situation like that?
Yeah, you listen to your body, which is really smart, and most people don't. So the first thing is you took a nap, because it's only when you are resting that your body goes into healing mode. So if you would have continued to motor through and you're like, oh, I'm exhausted, let me go get a cup of coffee or let me get some stimulants or whatever it is. People will reach out to anything, chocolate, just to keep going. And that is the worst thing that you can do.
Yeah.
So letting yourself rest and get into that state of parasympathetic nervous system and just everything calming down so that your body can start to heal, best thing that you could do. The second thing was you reached out for garlic.
Yes.
So yeah, antibacterial, antiviral, antifungal, and you put it here into your mucous membranes and you sucked on it. So you were getting all of that because you said you had a sore throat.
I did.
All of that was going directly here to help your immune system, right? So it's the antibacterial, antiviral. It's going to help to inhibit the spread and the growth of those pathogens that you come in contact with, and hopefully not descend down into your chest.
Yes. That was, I mean, I don't know if I heard it from you. I don't know where I picked it up, but I remember going, I need garlic. And I cannot stand, I love garlic, but when somebody has too strong garlic breath, it really just like, whoa, I didn't care.
Yeah.
I didn't care. I'm like, bring it. You want to come near me? You're going to have to be able to either hold your breath or love garlic. But I felt well within less than 24 hours. And that could have gone deep into my lungs. And
Oh, yeah.
We talked about nurturing the lungs before. Maybe that's where I got it. But I remember just within a short period of time, that next day, I was feeling ready. And I was singing this weekend. I was doing harmony and playing the tambourine. I posted the video on my Facebook page. But it was just, I was like, I need to stay healthy. So when the goal is to stay healthy, what are some of the things that you showed the garlic? What else do we have?
Well, I mean, there's a plethora of culinary herbs in everyone's kitchen right now that they could use. So something like cayenne pepper, right? So a cold virus literally thrives in a cold environment. So if your body is too cold, then the cold virus is going to say, hey, this is the perfect place for me to go because it's only 96 degrees, right? And that's where I like to live. So cayenne pepper, put it into your food, put it into, like for some people when they get a cold, they'll make like a hot, and I know I can't even tolerate something like that, like a cayenne pepper drink, right? To thin the mucus, to help bring some heat into the body. But that's something simple that they can do. Garlic, like you said, put it into everything.
Yeah.
And if your family is eating garlic, then they won't smell it. If your loved ones are eating garlic with you, then they won't smell it on you. It's only the people that are not eating the garlic that can smell it. So those are just two things that you can do.
Wow. And last night we had popcorn and I put cayenne
pepper.
I put cayenne and garlic powder in my popcorn. I'm like, what is wrong with me?
Oh, that's funny. You did that automatically?
I did.
Wow.
And at one point I just started, my nose started running.
Yes.
And my husband was looking at me going, are you okay? Because I was coughing. Because at what point I think I must have hit like all the cayenne pepper in one kernel of popcorn. And I'm like, okay, why am I doing this?
Yes.
So isn't it
very
interesting
smart.
how the body just speaks to you? It says, I want something hot here.
Yes, and pungent. So garlic also is pungent. So one of the things that the pungent flavor does in traditional Chinese medicine, it disperses stagnant energy. So let's say you have congestion. It goes in there and it disperses. It breaks up that stagnant energy. It's specific for the lungs. Right? Garlic is specific for the lungs, the health of the lungs. And the cayenne pepper helps to thin the mucus. So the fact that you started the runny nose and sneezing, right, was perfect. You were expelling and dispersing.
I'm telling you what, it was an amazing experience. Now, powder versus raw. So the when I was healing my throat, I just grabbed a piece of garlic and I put it in my mouth. And then last night I didn't have raw cayenne, so I used the pepper and I used just the garlic to put it in my powder. Powder versus raw. Any benefit for one or the other?
Well, fresh is always best, but the powdered works just as well. The powdered needs to be activated with some heat. Right, so you put it on your popcorn, which is warm. Right, it came out. You put that on. So
air pop.
Air pop, but it was still warm.
Yeah.
So when you have the powders, they do need some heat to reactivate them because they're dried. Sometimes they need heat and oil.
What about the heat from your mouth, the saliva and all of that?
Yeah, that works as long as you're 98.6.
Okay. Yeah. Well, when someone has a thyroid condition, their body temperature is normally
lower. Yeah.
Got it. So 98.6 is the magic number, is what I'm hearing you say.
Yeah, 98.6, 98.7, right? It could go a little bit either one way or the other. Okay. And some people naturally run hotter and some people naturally run cooler.
Now, is there anything else in your kitchen for when you're not feeling well? You're a little run down because you've got to get that particular item or whatever. How does that work?
Well, before we started, we were talking about glands. Mm-hmm. Right? So a classic.
Well, we're off the air. You and I were talking about glands. Why don't you talk a little bit about that, what we were saying?
Well, you were talking about the adrenals and that you had a naturopathic doctor or someone say to you, then eat adrenal glands, which is very smart. But there's also a classic when someone's feeling run down, and it's chicken soup, and that's the bones. You're specifically getting the bones and the nutrients and the minerals that are in the bones. You're extracting them into the liquid, and that's a classic. So if you make a bone stock, so to speak, you use and only organic chickens, right? I'm not saying, we're not talking about factory farm. We're talking about naturally raised animals. Most people throw the bones away.
Yes.
Don't throw those bones away. Save those bones in your freezer. And when you get 2 pounds of bones or a pound of bones, you put them into a pot and you put in all your scraps, the ends of the onion, carrots, celery, and you bring it all up to a boil, and then you just let it simmer for 8 to 24 hours. And when those bones are in that liquid, all of those nutrients are being extracted into the broth. And that's one of the things that makes bone broth so healing. And then, of course, you take that broth and then you put in rosemary and you put in oregano, and this is after it's cooked.
What is the benefit of rosemary and oregano, Andrea?
Oh, rosemary, another warming herb that moves circulation. So rosemary is a classic for moving blood. Okay. So to help warm the body, keep you a little bit warmer, help your extremities keep warm as well. Oregano, of course, another antibacterial for those of you that are worried about all the bacteria that's in the world, naturally antibacterial, and also dispersive. Right? Another one that's going to move energy inside the body. So we have a ton of healing foods in our kitchen. Don't throw away, don't eat your chicken and then throw away the best parts. Save the bones.
You don't know how many bones I have thrown away. And I started thinking about it. We are being taught or made feel comfortable by buying deboned. Mm-hmm. By, like when I used to make chicken soup or chicken, whatever, chicken and rice, I would throw away the bone because I was little, my mom would cook it with the bone and I hated the bone fragments in my mouth. How do you keep that from happening?
Well, you strain it. When I'm making a bone stock, I'm cooking those bones. I'm cooking them till they practically disintegrate. And then I'm straining out the liquid in a sieve. Right? It's getting strained so that all I have is the liquid and none of the sediment, right? None of the bone fragments or that, it's just the liquid, and you could keep it in the freezer until winter season comes or, until you start to feel a little run down. And it's also much better in the wintertime rather than in the summertime.
And how much should you drink?
Maybe if you're feeling under the weather, I would actually forego food and just have stock. Because once you start to get into heavy digestion, your healing starts to diminish, right? The healing capacity of the body starts to diminish because you're going to a lot of let's say you take a roasted chicken with roasted vegetables, right? It's very dense, very heavy. But if you take the stock with herbs, it's much easier on the digestive system, and your body will be able to absorb what it needs and put the energy toward healing.
Now, if you do a roasted chicken, or people are going to be cooking turkeys pretty soon and doing the traditional ham or lamb or whatever it is, even though it's been baked or roasted, can we still keep the bones, put it in the
Yes.
freezer and make a broth?
Yes, absolutely.
Really?
Yes, that's what I do. That's what traditional people did. They just saved the bones and they would cook the bones again because the roasted bones have a richer, deeper flavor. And also you extract
Get
more
out.
collagen. Yes.
Get out. Really?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. We've come so far from the way we were raised, Andrea.
Yeah.
You know, we just want this comfort. I don't want to debone my food. So here, all these bones that are being thrown away.
Yeah, it's a waste of good nutrition.
And then we're spending like all this money buying collagen powder.
That's correct. That you see how hot the collagen powder is on the market right now?
Yeah.
You get the collagen from the bones.
Unbelievable. So this is what we need to do. We just need to just stick everything in there and sieve it.
Yes, that's right. Put it in a little sieve or a little cheesecloth or something. Just strain it out.
And then just drink that. But you know, fasting is fasting good for you during this time when you're not feeling well? And just drinking the broth, will that give you all the nutrients that you need to survive for the day?
Yes. So like look at your animals in the house, when they get sick, they're not eating, but we try and force them to eat. We're like, oh, little kitty cat, please eat something. Kitty cat's like, just leave me underneath the couch. I'm just going to stay here. They stop eating because when you're sick, you don't want to burden your digestive system. You want to lighten up the load on the digestive system so all of your energy goes toward healing.
Amazing. That makes so much sense. I think that that's what I'm going to do. And and another thing we're going to do is we're going to continue taking lots of notes because we have Andrea Beaman. We're talking about home remedies that will nourish us during this time of year when we are just doing not just what we normally do, but on top of that, the celebrations, the parties, the late nights. So we're going to continue talking about how to nurture and regenerate our body with home recipes. And we'll be continuing our conversation with Andrea Beaman when we return worldwide at whenyounneedafriend.com. We'll be right here waiting for you. So Andrea, you are my okay, I got to ask you more. So I just want to verify, I trust a lot of we verify all these doctors that are coming on the air and Candida. So let's talk about Candida because there's so many people saying, here's these pills for Candida cleanses. No, you need to avoid foods for 90 days. What is the best? Oh, and then I had this doctor just recently say that there's nothing wrong with taking diflucan for 6 weeks.
Oh.
And so, and he mentioned it in passing. We weren't doing a Candida cleanse show, and he mentioned it off the air. So it's in the YouTube video. And so I'm just going, well, maybe it's not every day for 6 weeks, but he was saying along with, we never got into it. He said that. I'm like, I'm not going to go there. It's too much to ask. So what do you suggest?
Well, Candida, we know that it's normal to have Candida in the body, right?
That's
It
right.
thrives in the large intestine. We can't function without it. And it also has, it populates other areas as well, but not in as great a quantity. So it's only when the Candida starts to escape from the large intestine and go back up into the small intestine that there's problems. So great, you can take an antifungal, right? But it doesn't actually heal. Why is the valve weak in the first place that the Candida is escaping out of the large intestine and going into the small intestine and back into the bloodstream? Right? That's when it becomes problematic. So there are traditional antifungals that are not as harsh as diflucan. Black walnut hull is one of the ones that I recommend to my clients. It's amazing. It's been used for Candida overgrowth for a long time.
And where do you get that? Black walnut hull?
Yeah, black walnut hull or green walnut hull. You could get it in an herb store. You can get it online. Star West Botanicals, Mountain West Herbs, Mountain Rose Herbs. But this is a classic antifungal. You could even, if you have the white patches on the skin, you could even put it into your cream and put it onto the skin to help get rid of the fungus that way. When people go into the sun and the beach and they get those white That's fungus. That's excess fungus. So what you want to do is you want to heal that ileocecal valve so that the large intestine keeps the candida where it's supposed to be and the small intestine keeps what it's supposed to have, right? So how do you heal this ileocecal valve? That's a much bigger project, but it starts with seasonal eating. Seasonal eating, right? Because it starts to strengthen all the valves because you're eating what's in alignment with your environment. Also, a daily walk, right? A daily walk stimulates the peristalsis, which is the muscle contractions in the digestive system. A daily walk. So it's not a lot to ask, but it does take time. It does take time for people to get out there, take a daily walk, start eating seasonally, relax when you eat. All of that's going to start to strengthen those muscles inside the digestive system and also keep the valves closed where they're supposed to be, right? Because I know a lot of people will get the valve which will open here and then they'll get all this acid coming back up. So that's showing a weakening of the valves which need to be strengthened.
Interesting. So how much, black walnut hull, how much do you take, or do you just read whatever is on there? Is it an oil? What is it?
No, it's an extract of the black walnut, right? So there's black walnuts that grow all over the United States, and it's an extract of the hull, and it's antifungal, and it's a dewormer. It's really great, but you can't take it long term because you don't want to kill all of your fungus.
No.
It's short term, maybe 21 days, and you follow the directions on the container.
Interesting.
Or get with an herbalist.
Extract and you put it on what? Your coconut oil? Or whatever?
And then put it onto your skin if you have it externally, if you're having a fungal outbreak.
You have a recipe, like a ratio?
No, just take a little squirt, put it into your, let's say you're using coconut oil or whatever you're using, put a little squirt in there and put it on and just,
interesting.
You can even use it on toenail fibers.
So if you have those little white spots on your skin, does that show that you may have some candida?
Well, yeah, it shows that you have an overgrowth. It's now externally.
Overgrowth, yes. Candida, I looked it up because here we go. Let's forget about the show.
I'll be right here waiting for you.
Perfect.
You can text Lillian McDermott or leave her a voicemail at 407-373-5959. Once again, here's Lillian.
Welcome back to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show, where we always learn and grow with one another. Today's teacher is Andrea Beaman. She is teaching us how to create some health remedies that heal and restore our bodies, especially during this time of year when we tend to push it at both ends, burn the candle at both ends. And this is where we take responsibility for ourselves. And I want to encourage you that if you want to continue this conversation on and off before we air, or now we've got the YouTube videos, there's so many different ways that you can listen to or watch the Lillian McDermott Radio Show. I want for you to encourage you to become a subscriber at whenyouneedafriend.com. That way you know before anybody else what's on the show. This is where we can say, you know what, this is happening to me and I get to embrace it head on. It's not about the kind of responsibility word that leads to blame, shame, fault, or duty. It's about empowerment and freedom. And if you're ready to join the movement, go to whenyouneedafriend.com, become a subscriber. Now, when you do so, you're going to get some free gifts. I guarantee that. But I also want you to do me a favor. A couple of things. I want you to spread the word that the show is healing and helping yourself and others around the world change and take their life back. But the other thing is the people that make, the sponsors that make this happen, the people that allow us to have this show, go check out my sponsors. Check them out and figure out a way that you can support them, because without them, you would not be hearing the show today. And so I want to encourage you also to go to my social media, which you find at whenyouneedafriend.com. Click all these buttons and like me, subscribe, do all the things that it asks for you to do so that we can continue the conversation. I understand now that we have a whenyouneedafriend.com or the Lillian McDermott Radio Show page that you can write whatever you want to write, and it's right there for you to share. And there's going to be there's a support team other than myself to encourage you along the way. So go to all my social media, like me there. You can listen on demand, of course. And as always, you can text me, call me, leave a message. 407-373-5959. So today we're talking with Andrea Beaman. She is the Swiss Army knife of health coaches. She is an author. She's a chef. She is a health coach. And I love having her on the show because she makes healthy fun. And so thank you, Andrea, I know you're very busy coming on the show month after month to just enlighten us all to the point where we can listen to our bodies, because our bodies know this information, don't we? Don't we know this information already?
Yeah, I mean, you listen to your body, you did what you need to do. You said, okay, I need a nap. I'm tired. I need a nap. You laid down and you napped when you felt something coming on. And guess what? It didn't descend deeper in the body. So very wise. We have to listen to our bodies. Otherwise, we're going to be a mess.
Absolutely. So, okay. So now we talked a little bit about people who are sick around you, what to do, some of the remedies there. But what about, now we're at a party, we're eating foods that we normally don't eat, and we're hungry because we're like coming straight from work and not stopping. Maybe drinking a little bit more adult beverages than we should be drinking water. But when we're not drinking water, what else are we drinking? So what do you recommend as far as home remedies there for overindulgence?
Well, first and foremost, before you get to the party or at the party, make your first drink water. And then after that, you can have a beer, have a glass of wine, have a cocktail. And then remember, after you finish that first drink, have another glass of water. Because one of the reasons why we suffer when we drink too much alcohol is because it's dehydrating.
Yes.
So it's okay to have the drinks. Go ahead. Have a drink, have two, have three if you're really feeling it. But make sure that in between those drinks.
Drink responsibly. Disclaimer.
That's right. Don't have three and then drive.
Don't drink and drive. Okay, here we go.
Right? Yeah, no drinking and driving. But certainly have your drink, have a glass of water. Right? Make sure that you're rehydrating, because that alcohol is going to dehydrate you. And that's one of the reasons why people will suffer with these horrible headaches the next day. They're completely dehydrated. They wake up in the night and they feel like they've eaten sand.
How do you know this, Andrea Beaman?
Well, I've done it myself.
Okay. So if that happens, what can we do to heal and restore our bodies?
Well, the next day, let's say you've overindulged with alcohol. The next day, certainly eat very lightly. Make sure you're getting lots of liquids. So liquids in the form of soups, teas, water, right? Make sure that you're hydrating as much as possible. Fresh fruit, right? Fruit is very hydrating. All of that will help to hydrate your body. Now, as far as throwing up, let's say you've gone that
we're talking about throwing up. Okay, there we go.
Let's say you've taken
where did that come from, Andrea? Okay. So if it does happen, ginger tea, right, will help to quell some of that nausea. It's not going to take it away. There's no miracle cures. If you've overindulged, time is going to heal you. When you play, you pay.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct. But try a little ginger tea. Ginger helps to quell nausea, right? So a little ginger tea, maybe put a little honey in there and sip on it, and try and remember, make a mental note. Do not do this next week at the next party, because we're bombarded with parties at this time of year. It's a gathering time of year. The holidays bring the community together, which is great. But sometimes there's things that happen in community that don't happen when you're home with just your family, right? Yeah. Too much eating. Hey, try this cake. Try this. Try that. Try this little eggnog that I just made.
Yeah. Sometimes you just got to say no. Especially the eggnog. I mean, it's like, read the ingredients. If you can't pronounce some of the ingredients, it used to be eggnog was so, different than it is now. Now you read the label and you're like, this wasn't the eggnog that I grew up with.
That's correct. Yeah. My dad actually used to make eggnog every year. It was called Beaman's Brew. And it was only fresh ingredients, like fresh cream, fresh eggs, like the traditional old-fashioned eggnog. If you look at the eggnog that comes in the store, it's It's everything that's not what was traditional.
Yes, and there in my when I was growing up, I've told you I'm Spanish, and there is a traditional drink called coquito, which has
Oh,
coke.
with the sugar cane, right?
I don't know if it had sugar cane. I just know that when I was younger, I used to love it. And of course, now I don't have dairy, and I don't have, I'm very, very little animal products if I'm going to have it. But, I remembered that feeling of, oh, I've arrived to the holidays. There's certain things that we have. Let's say that you really this year want to do something different. How can you encourage, what do you do to encourage people to set themselves for success? So let's say they don't want to drink. Maybe they want to have a dry, maybe they just want to do, because I do mocktails. If I
Great.
don't want to drink, I do mocktails. And I created that name way before mocktails were popular, way before that. I was doing mocktails, and I would put dry ice in them, and they looked really festive. But there are certain things that we can do to set ourselves up for success. We don't have to indulge, but share some of the things that we can do to kind of keep ourselves from indulging.
Well, I mean, you just said it. Like make sure that there is something else there, or something. You could bring a gift of food or drink to a family or a friend's house. And of course, if they don't drink it, you'll be like, well, great, more for me. But bring something with you if you're going to a party.
Yeah.
Bring a food that you would like to eat. Bring a drink that you would like to drink. You make a traditional recipe. Call up your grandma if she's still alive, and make a traditional recipe. Classic. That is not, string beans and fried onions, something like that comes out of the can.
Okay, so I love the tip of drinking water. I figured that tip up after I just didn't know how to drink right.
Mm-hmm.
I would drink, and all of a sudden, I'm done. I was like, I'm done. And so you don't, because you're having so much fun, you lose track of time. You really don't know what's just going on. And my rule is, for every alcoholic drink I have, I drink 1 to 2 glasses of water.
That's great. That's very smart. And you've learned. A lot of people do not learn. So you said, I've gone too far. Most people don't even realize that they've gone too far. They just keep going and going and going until they actually fall off a cliff.
Well, okay. So I used to, and that there's danger because I was talking to a gentleman a long time ago, and I didn't know this was the way they thought. But for me, beyond tipsy, don't like it. I don't like that feeling of out of control. And I was sharing this with a guy, a next door neighbor, a long, long time ago. And they said, no, they want to drink more and more and more. Is there a point in your life where you feel this is a little dangerous? Maybe there's something we should do.
Gosh, that's a big, big concept. We'll have to get to it when we come back.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about it off the air. How about that?
Okay.
And encourage people to go to YouTube to watch listen to our conversations. And we're going to continue talking to Andrea Beaman. We're talking about how to restore our bodies during the time where we overindulge and sometimes deprive ourselves from the things that our body needs. And we're going to continue our conversation with Andrea Beaman worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. We'll be right here waiting for you. Okay. So is there a point, Andrea, where we really do need to take inventory? Because we're just, we're having fun here, but for some people, it's very serious.
Yeah, for some people, it is very serious. So if you look around you and you notice that at every holiday gathering, or even beyond that, you're overindulging and you're waking up every day, or, 3 out of 5 days or whatever it is, and you're waking up and you're feeling like, oh God, I won't do that again. I won't do that again. And after the third time that you say, I won't do that again, and you notice that you keep doing it again, you have to make that awareness. You have to say, okay, I am responsible for my life. Like we talk about being responsible for health. I am responsible for my life. I am ruining my relationships, ruining my job, ruining my life, ruining my health by drinking so much alcohol. I need to get help. And it's okay to admit that you need to get help. Because sometimes people can't stop on their own. They need a group. They need a support group. So go to AA. Go to some addiction therapy. Go get help. Find out, why do I keep pushing myself beyond this limit? Why do I keep butting my head into the wall, running my head into the wall again and again and again? There's some behavior pattern that needs to be stopped. And you have to reach out and you have to get help.
Okay. So which comes first, the chicken or the egg? Because I know that our gut craves things and makes demands on the brain. It's the microbiome. Is there anything that we can do that will create less craving for alcohol?
Yes. Remember what I was talking about before about strengthening the ileocecal valve by eating seasonally? When you eat seasonally, you're getting different bacteria from each season. So one of the reasons why you crave one thing over and over and over again is because you have too much of one strain of bacteria. So you need to diversify the microbiome. And when you diversify the microbiome, then, okay, I'm not just craving one thing. Now there's a variety of things that I'm supposed to be eating.
Okay, so how do you know what's seasonal?
Go to your local farmer's market. Wherever it is, in every state across the country, there is a farmer's market somewhere. And go in the spring, what's growing in the spring. Go in the winter, what's growing in the winter. Go in the summer, because the produce is naturally going to change in each season. It's not going to be available all year round. You're not going to get the same thing.
But broccoli all year round.
You can't, no, even though broccoli is healthy for us, it's actually not healthy all year round. Right? Because it doesn't actually grow in every season. So we have to diversify our microbiome. Like if you look at all the studies that are coming out now, the scientific studies on the microbiome, it's the people with the most diverse microbiome that are the healthiest.
Okay, so you know what? I'm going to research for Florida because I live in Florida. So everybody is different, right?
Yes. Florida has like 3 seasons.
Hot, hot, hot. Oh, here we go. This is our last segment.
I'll be right here waiting for you.
We've already talked about eating. Did we talk about?
You can text Lillian McDermott or leave her a voicemail at 407-373-5959. Once again, here's Lillian.
And welcome back to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show, where we always learn from one another. And today's teacher is Andrea Beaman. If you want to learn more about Andrea, you can go to andreabeaman.com. She's a health coach. She's a chef. She's an author. And we love having her here on the show. She's entertaining, and she brings the fun back into nutrition. Now, we've talked a lot about being healthy and staying healthy and restoring our body. And really, our bodies know. When our microbiome, though, is off kilter, we're being sent the wrong signals. We were talking about this off the air. And so I would like for you to share about seasonal eating and the importance of seasonal eating.
With each season, the soil bacteria changes. Right? Every single season. In the spring, the bacteria is specific. In the summer, the bacteria is specific. In the winter, we even have bacteria that is specific, and in the fall. So even if like somebody's in India and they're listening to this show, there are seasons. There's a wet season and there's a dry season. And within those seasons, the bacteria in the soil is going to change. So the scientific studies have now shown that it is the cultures with the most diverse microbiome that have the healthiest gut and the healthiest immune systems. So when you eat seasonally, you eat what's available within each season and each time of year, you're naturally getting different bacteria. So this also means that you're not supposed to completely bleach your vegetables. And I've had people say to me, "Oh, Andrea, should I put Clorox on my vegetables?"
What?
Because they're afraid of bugs and bacteria. No, just rinse them. Just give them a nice rinsing. You don't have to completely clean them, scrub them. Do you remember when we were talking earlier about the bacteria on the skin itself?
Sure. Mm-hmm.
And people were using antibacterial? We do the same thing with our food. Don't do that. Don't use those antibacterial washes or anything like that. Just simply rinse it in water. Give it a little scrub and start to use that, because that food is coming with its own bacteria.
But okay, so a lot of the stuff that we're washing and that we're cleaning and all that stuff, has that dirt in it. And I was using soap. I was using soap in a scrub. Okay, so I guess I won't do that anymore. But these are not farmers market kind of vegetables. What if you're buying them in the grocery store? Where now we're dealing with salmonella and we're dealing with other things.
Yeah, the grocery store food, like I try to get people mostly into the farmers market and into the CSAs, community supported agricultures, because then you know what's seasonal. If you are part of a community supported agriculture, the farmer is bringing to you what he or she can grow at that time of year. So for example, I'm part of a CSA in New York State. I've never, ever gotten a coconut or a banana. It doesn't mean that I can never eat them, but they do not grow anywhere near my environment. So that's not the food for me, right? The food for me is what's going to come in from my farmer within a 250-mile radius. Mm. So,
yeah. Food for thought, Andrea.
Food for thought, yes.
Food for thought. Okay, that should be the title of your next book, Food for Thought. Okay, so now we've covered people around you that are sick. We've covered overindulgence, and we want to encourage people to drink responsibly. We're not, trying to make light. There's a lot of things that you can do. If you don't want to drink, you can look like you're drinking. That way people don't, people get uncomfortable when you're not drinking and everybody else is drinking. So if I don't want to drink, I put like one of those tumblers. I put ice in it, water, a lime. No one knows. Everybody thinks you're drinking vodka or something clear. No one knows. So you don't have to drink. And fall in love with yourself so that, and then watch the people around you. Watch, because I'm sure I've been watched too. So if you don't feel like you want to drink, set yourself up for success. And that's, I guess, my little side PSA. Okay, so the last thing is burning the candle at both ends, working, shopping, parties, going to bed late, waking up early to catch up again. What do you suggest there?
Well, we have to get sleep. We have to get sleep. And we neglect sleep in modern society because we can stimulate ourselves and keep ourselves up with all the unnatural lighting that we have. But traditionally, humans would wake with the sun and sleep with the moon. And that was a cycle that helped to nourish the kidneys and the adrenals. So when we stop nourishing the kidneys and the adrenals, we deplete our batteries. So you'll find yourself every day waking up a little more tired the next day, a little more tired, until you get that crash. So I would suggest, and you talked about this at the top of the show, that if you're feeling the need for a nap, do not stop yourself. Get a nap, especially with all the partying that's going on right now. Yeah. Get a nap. Just lay down, go shut off everything off. It's okay. Take 15 minutes, take 20 minutes. It's going to rejuvenate you more deeply.
I tell you, I ignore my body when it comes to napping. I could not ignore it at that point. I had been, surrounded by so much, and I felt okay. And I just said I just needed an hour, 45 minutes to an hour. It's all I needed. And when I was done, I felt better, but I knew that my body still needed more. It's so important to listen to our body. How do we know when we're in constant state of going and doing? How do we know what our normal rhythm is, Andrea?
Well, I tell people to slow down. Just slow down. Like in the morning, just start your day with maybe a meditation or deep breathing, because then you can hear what your body has to say. If you're in that space where you're constantly going, you won't be able to hear anything. It'll be too noisy. So start your day. And I know I've seen your videos where you're in the beach and you're taking deep breaths and just being grateful for the day. If you can do that, just slow down in the morning. How do I feel today? Mm-hmm. Right? Am I energized? Do I need to rest more? Have I been overindulging? Just check in before you start your day, because once you start the day, you're off and running again. Yeah. So in the morning, wake up. How do I feel today? Just ask yourself. Your body's very smart. Mm-hmm. Don't neglect it, right? It's going to talk to you. It's going to say, hey, I am achy.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah, but what about overriding that ache? I mean, when I wake up in the morning, I wake up and if I were, I just want to, perhaps maybe this is the wrong way to do it, but when I wake up in the morning, I am just, I feel great. I am alive, I'm breathing, I'm grateful, and that kind of sets me up for the day. I think that if I woke up and I'm like, okay, let me take inventory of my pain, which many of us do. Let me take inventory of my stress. Let me take inventory of what, who's liked my page, who's not liked my page. That's when I get into trouble.
Well, yeah, don't wake up and look at the negative. Like what, yeah, wake up and I'm alive, I'm here, I'm healthy. Okay, right? Like you're going to focus on the positive, but you do have to take an inventory.
Yes. Got it.
Okay, am I achy? Do I need to stretch? Right?
Yeah,
So some people will just wake up and they'll be like, oh, I got this ache. Let me take an aspirin. So instead, I would say, okay, you wake up, you got an ache. Stretch, because this is a traditional way to heal the body, is to open up the meridians through stretching. People would use yoga's been around for thousands of years. Tai Chi, Qigong, stretching, opening up your body in the morning helps all the energy flow. It's going to get the nutrients where it needs to go. It's going to get the blood where it needs to go. It's going to take away the aches and the pains.
I read an article a while ago that said that whenever we reach for our phone, the majority of the people reach for their phones when they get up in the morning. And there was a statistic that people who do that are behind. They're like, they don't catch up for the day. And you would think, okay, let me get a grasp on what's going to happen today. In the reality, the opposite happens. So how much time do you suggest that people stretch or just breathe or just meditate? I like to journal.
I like to journal too. I journal every morning. I journal, meditate, stretch. I do all of that before I start my day.
Wow. How long does that take you, Andrea Beaman?
It doesn't take long, maybe an hour, but I've set up my life to be like that. So I would suggest at least 10 minutes of stretching in the morning. 5 minutes of focusing on your breath, right? Just breathing, relaxing. Get yourself in a healthier state before you get into rush hour, so to speak.
Got it. Great words of advice. Andrea, it's always so wonderful to have you on. I know that the holidays are upon us, and I want to wish you a happy holiday. We'll be talking soon before the end of the year.
Thanks, Lillian.
And for those of you, check out AndreaBeaman.com if you want to learn a little bit more about what Andrea is doing. And to you have a choice. You can plan to be successful and live and have a holiday week or holiday season where you're not trying to catch up, or you can do some of the remedies that we talked about today. It's your choice. Just love your body. This is Lillian McDermott wishing you love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. Make it the best day ever. Okay, good job. Thank you, Andrea. I know that you have to run, and I'm so grateful whenever you're on the show.
Oh, thanks, Lillian. Always great seeing your beautiful smiling face.
Yes, same here. Take care.
Okay. Bye.